Before a thought comes, there is a small space, very quiet, very still. It is not easy to notice, because the mind moves so fast. One thought comes, then another, like waves on the ocean. But between those waves, there is a moment of silence. You don't need to try to make this silence. It is already there, always. Even now as you listen, there is a short pause before the next sentence. That is the space I'm speaking about. It is gentle, soft, and open. Not something you can hold in your hand, but you can feel it. Many people think they are their thoughts. I think, so I am, they say. But if that is true, what about the space when you are not thinking? Do you stop being? Of course not. You are still here. In fact, you may feel more clear, more peaceful, in those moments when there are no thoughts. This silent pause is not a problem. It is not empty in a bad way. It is full of something simple and deep. You could say it is like the sky. The sky is always there, even when clouds pass by. Thoughts are like clouds. The silence behind them is like the sky. If you begin to notice this space, you may find that it is kind. It does not ask you to do anything. It does not judge you. It simply is. And in that being, there is a quiet kind of joy. Not loud, not exciting, but steady, like the ground under your feet. You can rest there, even for a moment. Just rest. Nothing more. Have you ever asked yourself, where do my thoughts come from? Most people never stop to wonder. A thought just appears, like a bird flying into the sky. It comes, it stays for a short time, then it goes. But where was it before it came? And where does it go after? It is easy to believe that we are making our thoughts, but if you watch carefully, you may see something interesting. Thoughts arrive on their own. You don't choose the next one. Try it now. Try to know what your next thought will be. You cannot. It comes like a surprise. This does not mean thoughts are bad. They are just passing events, like sounds or the wind. They rise, they change, they fall away. But we often grab onto them. We believe them. We follow them far away from this moment. That is how stress and worry begin. But when you begin to see that thoughts just come and go, you can also see that they are not you. You are the one who is watching them come and go. Like someone sitting by the road, watching cars pass. The cars are not you. They are only passing by. This way of looking at thoughts is gentle. It does not fight the mind. It does not try to stop anything. It simply watches, with interest and with care. And slowly, you may start to feel less pushed around by your thinking. You may begin to feel a quiet power in simply observing. Behind each thought, there is space, and before it too. Thoughts float in this space, and that space is very still. Many people, when they begin to notice the space between thoughts, want to hold on to it. They try to keep the gap open, to make it longer, but the moment you try to control it, it disappears. Why is that? Because control is also a kind of thought. The space between thoughts is natural. It is like a breeze passing through a quiet forest. You can enjoy it, but you cannot catch it. You don't need to. The more you try to manage it, the more your thinking comes back. So instead of doing something, try not doing. Just let the gap be. You may notice the gap when a thought ends and there is a small pause. Don't rush to fill that pause. Just notice it. That is enough. You don't have to say, I found the space. You don't have to talk about it inside your head. Just feel it, gently. It is like watching a river. You do not jump in. You sit on the bank. The water flows, but you stay still. In the same way, the mind flows, but you are not the flow. You are the one who sees it. And in that seeing, there is a quiet kind of peace. Sometimes The gap will feel large, sometimes very small. That is okay. You are not trying to win anything. You are not trying to be perfect. You are simply recognizing what is already here. That's all. Let the thoughts come. Let them go. But also, let the space between them be as it is. No need to change it. Just know that it is there. And rest, even if only for a breath. No matter where you are, or what is happening around you, there is something that does not move. You may not notice it at first, but it is always here. Beneath the noise of thoughts, beneath the sounds of the world, there is stillness. This stillness is not something you have to create. It is already part of you. Like the ocean under the waves, it is deep and quiet. Even when the surface is busy, the depth remains calm. That calm is in you too. When you sit quietly and say nothing, just breathing, you might start to feel this stillness. It is not dramatic, it is not bright or loud, but it is strong in a soft way. It holds everything, even your busy thoughts, your feelings, your questions, they all appear in this stillness. The important thing is, you don't have to go far to find it. You don't need a special room or a special time. Even standing in a crowded place, you can notice it. Just for a second. It is in the background, waiting to be seen. You may ask, what is the use of stillness? It is not a tool. It is more like a home, a place where you can return, a place where you can rest without needing to fix anything. When you touch this stillness, even for a short moment, something inside becomes more simple. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't even need to understand it. Just know that it's always here. Always. And when life feels heavy, or your mind feels full, remember, stillness is not far. It is just one breath behind you. Many people believe they must always be thinking to solve problems, thinking to be safe, thinking to be someone. But have you ever noticed that you are still here, even when no thought is present? You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them come and go. So what remains when thinking stops for a short moment? You are still awake, still aware, still here. That simple presence is what I call being. Being does not need a story. It does not need a name. It is just here, quiet and clear. Often people are afraid of this. They say, if I stop thinking, I will be empty. But the truth is, you are not empty. You are full of life, just not full of noise. There is something very deep and peaceful in just being, not becoming, not doing, not trying to reach something, only being. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to feel a certain way. It is enough to just be, and to know that you are. Even when your mind is busy, this being is still here. It does not leave. You can always return to it, like sitting in the sun. You don't need to understand the sun to feel its warmth. In the same way, you don't need to understand being. You only need to rest in it. Let thoughts rise if they do. Let them fall if they do. But know that they are not required. You are already complete. Not because of what you think, but because of what you are. And that, just being, is enough. Have you ever noticed how quickly the mind wants to fill every quiet moment? When there is silence, even for a second, a thought appears. What should I do next? Why did that happen? What if? The mind does not like empty space. It wants to fill it. This is not your fault. It is just a habit. The mind is like a river that has always been flowing. It does not know how to stop. But the good news is, you don't need to stop the river. You just need to step back from it and watch. The mind fills the space with plans, memories, and worries. It thinks this will keep you safe. But often, it only brings stress and confusion. You may feel tired, even when doing nothing, simply because the mind never takes a break. But the space between thoughts is not a mistake. It is a doorway, a small opening that leads to something deeper. And if you learn to stay with that space, without quickly grabbing the next thought, something changes. You begin to see that peace is already here. At first, the mind will try to pull you back. It will say, "This is boring," or "You're wasting time." But these are just more thoughts. You can let them pass, like clouds in the sky. The space does not need to be exciting. It only needs to be seen. And when it is seen, something inside you relaxes, like a muscle you didn't know was tight. The need to always think begins to soften. Slowly, gently, you start to trust the quiet. And that quiet has its own kind of wisdom. Many people are afraid of emptiness. They think it means something is missing. In daily life, we often try to fill the empty space by talking, by checking our phones, by thinking about the past or the future. But what if emptiness is not a problem? What if it is a kind of freedom? When the mind becomes quiet and thoughts fall away, there is a kind of openness. Nothing is pushing you. Nothing is pulling you. For a moment you are simply here. You may call it mental emptiness, but it is not cold or lonely. It is light, spacious, free. In this space, you don't have to pretend. You don't have to be someone special. You don't have to fix anything. You can just be. That kind of freedom is rare in this world. But it is not far away. It is always close. Closer than your next breath. You don't need to force the emptiness. You don't need to hold it. It comes on its own, when the mind is not busy. You might notice it when you're looking at the sky, or listening to the wind, or sitting quietly after a long day. In those moments, the mind lets go, and something deep inside relaxes. That is the freedom I'm speaking about. Not the freedom to do anything you want, but the freedom to stop trying for a little while, to rest without needing to explain yourself, to feel okay, just as you are, without adding anything extra. Mental emptiness is not a lack. It is a gift, a quiet space where life can breathe. There is a kind of knowing that does not use words. It is quiet, but very clear. It does not come from books or thinking. It comes from simply being alive and awake in this moment. I call this natural awareness. This awareness is not something you need to build. You were born with it. Even a small child or an old person near the end of life has it. It is not about being smart. It is not about having the right ideas. It is just the clear seeing of what is happening right now. When you look at a tree, you can describe it. It's tall, green, strong. But before the words come, there is just the seeing. That fresh, direct experience, that is awareness. The words come later. They are useful, but they are not the same as the thing itself. In the same way, you can be aware of your own thoughts without needing to name or follow them. You can simply notice, there is a thought, and then let it go. You return to this quiet watching, this simple presence. Sometimes the mind will try to explain everything. That's okay. Just notice it. You don't have to push the thoughts away, but you also don't have to follow them. Instead, stay with this quiet awareness. It does not speak, but it knows. It does not argue, but it sees. This kind of awareness has no effort in it. It is soft, open, and kind. It allows everything to come and go, and it never leaves you. Even when you forget it, it is still here, waiting patiently in the background. And when you remember it, even for one moment, the whole world seems more calm. When we first notice the space between thoughts, we often ask, "What should I do with it?" This question comes from the habit of always needing a purpose. But the space does not need to be used. It does not need to be changed. It just needs to be allowed. Letting the space be as it is may feel strange at first. It may feel like nothing is happening, but in truth, something very deep is happening. You are not interfering. You are not trying to shape your experience. You are simply letting it unfold on its own. This is a quiet kind of trust. You are trusting that you don't need to fill every moment. You are trusting that silence, too, is part of life, not a mistake, not something missing, just another form of being. You may notice this space when you wake up in the morning, before the day begins, or at night, just before sleep. It is calm, open, and not pushing in any direction. If you leave it alone, it shows you something important, that you are already enough. Right here, right now. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to turn it into a lesson. The mind will try, of course. It will say, "What does this mean? How can I use it?" But the space doesn't answer those questions. It just invites you to rest. So let the space be. Let it be soft. Let it be quiet. Let it be free. There is no need to hold it. No need to chase it. Just give it room, like you would give room to a sleeping child. Gently, kindly. And in that gentle allowing, you may find a deep peace you didn't know you were looking for. In the end, all of this leads back to something very simple. Not something new, not something to chase, but something you have always known deep inside. There is a quiet space within you. It is not far. It is not hidden. It has always been here, waiting. This space does not need you to be better, or wiser, or more peaceful. It only asks for one thing, that you stop for a moment and be as you are. You don't need to do anything special. Just breathe. Just sit. Just notice that you are alive. That is enough. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about remembering who you already are, when you are not trying to be anything. Life becomes clearer when we stop adding so much, when we stop pushing so hard. In this gentle space between thoughts, we find something very honest, very real. We find the heart of life, simple, quiet, and full. You don't need to hold on to this. Like the wind, it comes and goes. And that is okay. It is not about staying in silence all the time. It is about knowing that silence is always there, even when life becomes noisy again. So return to it when you can. Gently, with kindness, like returning to a familiar path. There is nothing to fix, nothing to change, only this moment, only this breath. And before I end, I would like to say, thank you. To those who have supported this channel with kind comments, with likes, with subscribing, or by becoming members, or sending super thanks, I am truly grateful. Your quiet encouragement means more than words can say. May your days be peaceful, and your heart remain open, just like the space between your thoughts.